Hello and welcome to our channel. In today's video I'm going to talk about support and resistance zones on the price chart and how to quickly identify them with ChartMill. Support and resistance are technical price levels that are important for traders whose strategy is based on technical analysis and price action. However, fundamental investors can certainly benefit from these price levels as well. After all, these are specific price zones that are watched by a lot of buyers and sellers and where there is a lot of price action. That allows for better timing of entries and a better delineation of risk. ChartMill offers several ways to quickly and accurately screen for stocks whose price is in the immediate vicinity of such support and resistance zones. And you'll learn exactly how to do so in this video. My name is Christoph. Welcome to ChartMill. So I'll start with some basic settings, followed by the specific support and resistance filters that are available in ChartMill. And finally we will take a look at some options on how to further combine these support and resistance filters with other screening filters in ChartMill. Let's start with the basic filters such as minimum price, volume and market capitalization. These will already ensure that a lot of the stocks in our database will drop out. We use a minimum price of $5 or euro. This way we avoid underpriced stocks, also known as penny stocks, and these are generally very volatile and susceptible to manipulation, and we want to avoid that. Next we set a minimum daily volume of 300,000. Sufficient volume is important for liquidity. This makes these shares easy to trade at any time during the trading day. It should be noted that the minimum volumes used depend on the market in which you are trading. For Europe, for example, it is best to set the filter slightly less strict. Otherwise, there would be too few shares left to work with. Trading volumes in Europe are generally lower than in America. Market capitalization, a minimum of 300 million. This allows us to include the more modest companies, but excludes the really small ones. And with the final filter, we only would hold common stocks and exclude ETFs, ADRs and REITs. You can of course adjust this to suit your own needs. To have ChartMill automatically find stocks that are near technical support levels, first select the support and resistance tab. The filters we are going to use here are support 1, the weekly support 1, horizontal support 1, the weekly horizontal support 1 and the consolidated support 1. Before we show the first filter, we add the support and resistance lines as an overlay in the chart. This is done by clicking on the chart settings tab. For the main chart settings, click on the blue plus sign and then on the inverted triangle next to select overlay to add. Scroll all the way down and select support and resistance lines. Then click on add indicator. The diagonal and horizontal lines that now appear on the chart are all automatically generated by ChartMill, and it is these lines that are used by the software to locate the price relative to support and resistance. Remove any other indicators or overlays. Return to the support and resistance tab and open the support 1 menu. We set that ChartMill should look for stocks that are maximum 2% away from the next support level. The selected filter appears in the filter field in the upper right corner. ChartMill will now only show stocks which are at maximum 2% from the nearest green diagonal or horizontal identified support. But that's not all. In the same tab, you can also indicate how long the identified support should already exist. You do that by scrolling further down and determining the S1 length. You can set it from bigger than 10 to bigger than 200. If we set, for example, that the S1 length must be greater than 50, then we only get the stocks which are at maximum 2% of the next support line and where that same support line has been in place for at least 50 trading days. And to top it off, you can set a minimum number of times the identified support must have already been tested by the price. To do so, scroll down a bit further where you can then set the S1 strength. If I set the strength to at least 4 as an example, ChartMill will only show the stocks whose price has already tested the support line at least 4 times. Impressive, right? The weekly support one has exactly the same features, but now the automatic support levels are determined based on the weekly chart. When using this filter, it is recommended to change the main chart settings to the weekly view. Go to the chart settings tab again and change the time frame setting for the main chart to weekly. As an example, we set the price to be at maximum 3% of the next automatically identified support level. The The support level must have existed for more than 20 weeks and the price must have tested the support at least twice. For these S1 and weekly S1 filters, ChartMill takes into account both diagonal and horizontal support levels. However, many investors want to concentrate purely on the horizontal lines, which is why there are separate filters for them, being the horizontal support 1 and the weekly horizontal support 1. In terms of settings, this is completely similar to the regular support 1 and weekly support 1. But now ChartMill will only take into account the horizontal support lines, so the position of the price relative to the diagonal support lines no longer plays a role. Let me just give an example regarding horizontal support 1. The maximum distance from the next identified support line is 3%. The support line itself must have existed for at least 50 trading days, and the support must have been tested 3 times. If you take a moment to review the results, you will notice that sometimes there are some really nice setups to be found. So far I have only shown the possibilities in terms of recognizing support levels, but of course you can have ChartMill search for resistance levels as well. The filters for that are resistance 1, weekly resistance 1, the horizontal resistance 1, the weekly horizontal resistance 1 and the consolidated resistance 1. The final option to have ChartMill automatically search for support levels is through the consolidated support filter. Like the horizontal support level, ChartMill thereby concentrates only on the horizontal support levels. However, the difference is that as far as identifying support is concerned, ChartMill considers a wider price zone, whereas for the regular support filter it is an exact price. That makes the filter slightly milder and shows more stocks that are near the support zone identified by ChartMill. We are going to make that support zone visible on the chart first. Remove the existing support and resistance lines and then add the overlay consolidated support and resistance. You will no longer see lines but zones on the chart, and those zones are used by ChartMill to find stocks whose price is nearby. The filter options are almost identical. The only difference is that for the consolidated filters there is no minimum length that can be set. So we only define the maximum distance of the price from the support zone and the number of times the support zone has already been tested by the price. In the previous 2 examples, we searched for support levels on each occasion. With this last filter option, I will use the variant to identify resistance. As for all the filters discussed in this video, there are 2 versions. One where ChartMill identifies support and the other one where the screener searches resistance levels. So this time we open the drop-down menu under the item Consolidated Resistance and then retain the following filters. Current 2% from the Consolidated Resistance Start and the Consolidated Resistance Strength above 5. Now you only get stocks that are maximum 2% away from the next resistance zone identified by ChartMill and where the price has already tested that zone at least 5 times. By adding additional filters, you can improve or refine the results quite a bit. This screen starts with the same basic data I used in the previous examples. Suppose we want to look for stocks whose price is close to horizontal resistance. To do so, click on the Support Resistance tab and then open the drop-down menu next to Horizontal Resistance S1. Select the current 2% from Horizontal Resistance 1 and HR1 length above 50. You notice that the selection includes stocks that are already above the identified resistance level. This is normal since the filter used only specifies that the price should not be more than 2% away from the identified resistance, but whether the price is below or above the resistance is not specified. If we want to keep only the stocks whose price is below the resistance, we need to add an extra custom filter. To do so, open the Custom tab. For the left side of the equation, select Property, General, and then Current Price. For the equation itself, select less than or equal to. And for the right side of the equation, select again Property, then Support and Resistance, and then Horizontal Resistance HR1. Now click on Add Filter. ChartMill now displays only the stocks whose price is below the recognized resistance. You also notice that there are both stocks whose price rose or fell on the last trading day. In this case, however, I want to keep only the stocks that have risen. For this, I use the performance filter. Click on the performance tab and move the left bullet to minimum 0. ChartMill now only shows stocks that closed positive on the most recent trading day. Finally, you can add a volume filter that specifies that the volume on the last trading day must have been bigger than the day before. To do so, open the Technical Indicators tab and open the Volume Increase menu. Here, select Volume more than previous volume. The number of candidates is further thinned out by ChartMill, but the list that remains gets better and better this way. The possibilities are endless. For example, you could just as well first retain some fundamental criteria and further refine the selection by examining which stocks are priced close to resistance or support. We gladly invite you to get started yourself. If you do not have an account yet, do so quickly. It's completely free and all you need is a mail address. We never ask for payment information. A free account gives you 2 weeks of access to all features ChartMill has available, without any restrictions, and importantly, after the trial period your account will still be free. You will receive 6,000 credits every month that you can use as you see fit. Only when your credits are consumed for that month, the functionality will be limited. If desired, you can then opt for a paying monthly or yearly subscription. In any case, ChartMill never automatically converts a free subscription into a paying subscription. That is a firm promise. So if you found this video useful, please do us a big favor by liking it and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.